Well, I think there's really, I can point to three new rules for software companies today for building, managing, and funding and selling software. I think the first thing is the fundamental business model for software has been completely transformed in the last few years. I think with the growth of the internet, with the rise of SaaS and cloud computing, where 10 years ago, software companies used to view themselves as selling a product that a customer would own and deal with on their own, the move of the software application into the internet really transforms it into a service. And the business model behind a services organization starts to look a lot more like, say, your cell phone carrier. And where, if, just as an example, from a pricing and packaging standpoint, where you used to have a product orientation to how you sell your product, now that it's a service, you need to wrestle with a whole bunch of different things. Do you price using one-time fees? Do you price using monthly flat fees? Do you price using monthly per user fees? Do you want to actually track transactions, meter transactions, and have a pricing model based on usage fees or overage fees or rollover fees? Do you offer 2-year terms and quarterly billing cycles? And so fundamentally, software companies need to take a step back and realize that their business model is completely different. And just as an example of that, at Salesforce.com, we often talked about the two transformations that we needed to do to make Salesforce.com successful. The first was on the technology side, that with a technology model, a new technology model built on multi-tenant systems. But the second, just as important, was a new business model based on pay-as-you-go systems that we really had to implement in order to make our SaaS company successful. The second rule that really applies to software companies today is there's been a transformation in terms of the power shifting from the vendor to the consumers. And consumers' expectations have really fundamentally changed. And consumers are really demanding a lot more transparency around pricing from their software vendors. So, they're used to going to their favorite website, whether it's Netflix or Zipcar or Salesforce, or perhaps they're purchasing a cellular plan from Verizon or AT&T, and actually being able to see the prices for their products. And gone are really the days of 10 years ago where software companies try to keep their pricing opaque. Consumers are now demanding that software companies publish their prices on their website, just like Salesforce does, just like Google does. The second aspect of that is consumers are actually asking for a lot more different options in terms of how they engage with your software service. And so as an example, they can go to Verizon today and choose between a 450-minute plan, a 900-minute plan, an unlimited plan, a family plan. And different customers have different needs, and when they use a software vendor's application, they're really asking for a pricing plan that's really customized to their specific needs versus a one-size-fits-all. The third new rule, I would say, is that what it takes in terms of a back-end infrastructure to build, manage, and grow one of these businesses is also completely different. Now that you have a completely different business model, you have to offer different pricing and packaging options. You have to implement a pay-as-you-go model. Well, existing systems such as an SAP or an Oracle or a QuickBooks or a Great Plains are really built for product-centric companies that sell widgets versus a services organization where people subscribe to the services that you offer. And I'd say for software companies to be successful, they really need a whole new breed of applications centered around billing and order provisioning and recurring revenue concepts that really help them be able to build, manage, and scale these type of businesses.